All right. For this episode, we got the lovely Tania Greenleaf, legendary basketball player from Columbia High School and Bloomfield College, right? Bloomfield College, right?
Yes, sir.
And Bloomfield College.
Yes.
And Instagram thinker.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Um, as soon as I heard that you were doing this and seen from my own eyes, the impact that you was having, I thought it was a good thing. I wanted to be a part of it, and as soon as I got the chance to connect with you, here we are. So I
Exactly.
appreciate it. Thank you.
The only lady to ever be on the ET Talks podcast, right? And for those that don't know, she's also thinking about doing a podcast. I mean, she should be my co-host, but we'll see if she wants to do that after this is.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You know what I mean?
Let's do it. But
so why don't you tell me like how you got into did you move to Midwest South Orange or you always lived there?
Well, I moved there when my grandfather got into the police force. My grandfather was chief of police for North Police Department for about 25 years. So when he got that job, then he moved our whole family actually to South Orange. And then that's how I got connected with just South Orange, the city of South Orange and neighborhood, the people, and all the good things that they had to offer there. So it was a good thing.
Okay. And how did you get into basketball? Is it something that you always loved, or did somebody influence you?
Absolutely. My big cousin Steve Greenleaf, he went to Columbia as well. He played ball as well. He played with a couple other guys, and he played under Bailey, I think. And so I went to one of his games when I was actually in.
Sorry. Not to cut you off.
That's okay.
Is that dark skin?
Dark skin Steve.
Is that dude from ID Hill?
Yes, that's my big brother.
That's your brother?
Yeah, that's my cousin, but my big brother.
That's your cousin? Word? Yeah. That's funny. He's come up on this podcast a couple of times.
Really?
And I don't think I ever met him, but that's my man, Keith. That's his man.
And then that's Keith, that's my big brother as well.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's crazy.
We all family. We all affiliated. We all family. I watched them grow up. Like I said, we all lived in the same household when we all moved to South Orange.
Okay.
And from then, he was a big influence on my life. And I watched his first basketball game when I was in the 6th grade. And as soon as I watched him play that first game with him and Keith, that you mentioned as well, and some other good players, I knew that that's where I wanted to be. I was the little girl running out after the game, shooting, and everybody looking at me like, oh, God. She's pretty decent, but I started out that young, and that's what started me out. And so when he went to Columbia, it was just kind of like a big brother thing. I wanted to go to Columbia with him and kind of do the same thing. So that's how I got into Columbia. And then coming into it, I knew that I was going to play basketball for sure. And I heard, and I knew that they were coached well and that they were a winning team. So I started to do research. I started to come to the games, and then, I fell in love with the game. I fell in love, and then that was my story of getting into that school.
Okay. So look, I'm trying to think. So when you was like, I think that would have been like, Stacy and Jazz in them's year, right?
Absolutely. Stacy Townsend, Jasmine Wright. You had a couple other players there. That's when they had Gail Wafili. Marcy Dixon was a little bit before me, but I remember her game. And it's just some of the players that stood out to me. I like Jessica Simmons. She was playing as well. During my years, it was me and JoJo Wafili, Ingrid Goslin, Lachia Clark, and those were the people that I played with. And we had a pretty good run.
All right. So explain to me, right? You come in your freshman year. By the time you come in your freshman year, they're like the Shabazz of their time. Right now, it's like I think it's Shabazz. A couple years ago, Shabazz ran things for like 5 years, right?
Absolutely did. Yes.
So that was Columbia. That was the female version of Seton Hall Prep.
Absolutely.
Y'all were who everybody was aiming for. So you come in your freshman year. What was it like coming in as like a, you know what I mean, to like a legendary coach like Miss Wright? Um, what was it like?
Coming in, I was kind of it was a nervous wrecking thing for me coming in. I just didn't know what to expect. All I know is I had this love for this game, and I was willing to die for it. And I hoped and prayed that that the coaches invested in me and felt the same way about me that I felt towards the game. And so those are my only, it was just that kind of anxiety coming in. How was I going to be? Was I ever going to get any playing time? Because we were so good when I was a freshman. But when I came in as a freshman, I played varsity, and I got some time in too. Absolutely, on the varsity teams, on those great teams when I was a freshman. I didn't start as a freshman, but maybe some games. But I definitely started my sophomore year varsity for sure, almost every game, and from then on, almost every game. So it was
Yes.
it was a great experience for me. Um, you know, it could have been better in certain areas, but I don't regret it.
All right. So coming in your freshman year, you playing varsity, right? Now, I did the same thing. So now I was playing freshman. I had a couple people on earlier, like in my first episode, I was telling them, my man Dez.
Yeah, I remember that,
Really,
man.
yeah, I remember Dez. I told him, like, what I mean, when I first came in, I just thanked them for just being an asshole. You know, nobody, like, if you hear everybody else tell their stories, they'll come in, they're like, yo, that was a sophomore, and I played, varsity. Everybody was helping me. This guy helped me. This guy wasn't none of that happening when I came in as a freshman.
Absolutely.
Nobody helped me. Nobody was nice to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even they don't even seem like they wanted me to succeed. Like I felt bad being up there.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, taking minutes from people and doing all that. Like, how was it for you? Like, was it friendly, or like, did they take you in, or was it like?
It was more so, see, me coming in, you know, um, I knew that I was pretty decent, and I had that confidence of just being pretty decent. And maybe it got misconstrued as a cockiness. So from then, I mean, I got the open arms from the players more so, kind of sort of from the coaches, but more so from the players, you know. But it was pretty much the same. I guess the field was a little bit different as far as that is concerned with the women, because women are just different than men. Period. You know what I mean? So you go through different things just because of the species difference. But for the most part, it was the regular. You know, you come in, you're pretty good. People know you're pretty good. People may be a little timid to give you that respect so young. So I know I definitely felt that. That regardless to the contrary, that people felt a little intimidated by my presence on the basketball court, and that's for sure. But
So now going into your sophomore year, I know for me it was like different. Like I see you. I mean, you're probably getting a little bit more comfortable with it. You know what I mean? So what was it like going into your sophomore year now that you had a year under your belt?
mm, going into the sophomore year, I was coming in. I was a little bit more confident. I had started working out with another coach from. He was actually from Harrison. His name was Thomas Ferrero, and Tom Ferrero was I played with him in my AAUs and everything like that. AAU was something to get you ready for the seasons. So I was glad that I had him. He took me under the belt. He just showed me the way as far as just being educated outside of the court. All the adversity that you go through outside of the court and on the court. So I started to get a little bit more educated into myself. I started getting more educated on what my skills was, what I was good at, what I could contribute to the team. So I just started understanding myself more as a player and a person. And so that was like my sophomore year, and it was just like a little learning experience for me. But my sophomore summer, that's when I worked the hardest of my whole high school career on, you know, developing my game. And that summer, I did everything. Oh God, as far as just the conditioning, understanding the game, I would take myself to every gym and every coach for them to work with me, you know. And then from there, my junior year, I came in great shape. You know, I was in really great. I was in the best shape of my life that junior year when I came in, and that was really my year where I really excelled. You know, but
Okay.
sophomore year, it was well too. But from that summer on, I really excelled.
Um, Explain to me kind of who the players were on the team when you came in. I mean, when you transition your junior year, because you know your junior year is really going to start the transition in your team, right? So,
Yeah,
who were some of the players on the team?
I had JoJo Wafili. She was like a power forward slash guard. She was strong. She was a beast. She had a great mid range game, great inside post game. And in me, I held on to the outside game. You know, I was more the outside player, the outside game. And then we had Ingrid Gosling, who was our big girl. And Ingrid was a beast. She was a big belly beast. Okay. And so I had her. And then we had Lachia Clark. We had Siobhan Pettis, and those were, you know, our main girls who contributed to the team when I was there during my years.
Okay. How was that junior year? Was there any like, I can't remember. I think by your junior year, probably, I think I was going. So
Yes, I think you were going. Yeah.
you're gonna have to fill me in with some of this. So how did the year end up?
My junior year, I think we lost to St. Peter's. I forgot the name. I think it's St. Peter's, not St. Peter's Prep, but it was like a prep school, and we lost to them in the counties. We went all the way through, and we lost to them in the finals for that. And my senior year, we went to the Esther County tournament for sure. We're a great team because that's when we lost. You know, we were kind of like rebuilding. We lost everyone. So JoJo and Ingrid and Lucia and all of like our big, you know, gritty players and our decent players, we had lost them coming into my senior year. So that was kind of like a rebuilding year for Columbia, unfortunately, that year. So it was a pretty decent season, but I just, you know, it wasn't really a winning season. You know, that's when it started to decline my senior year. You know, but before all that, we were pretty good. We were pretty good.
Okay, so your senior year was kind of what, like an up and down season?
Yeah, it was an up and down season for sure. For
All
sure.
right.
Yeah.
The reason why you think that is, or
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think that, you know, you have to have a deep connection, you know, with your coaches, regardless on what. Talent is not going to take you uh, but so much, you know. You got to have that connection with your coach. You got to have that trust in your coach, and the coach in return has to have that trust in you. I don't think that we ever really developed that relationship over the years, over my years there, for me to, you know, have that relationship with my coach, and that had played a big part in it. You know, I don't think that she just disliked me, but I just never developed the relationship that she maybe had with other players that I seen on the team that she really invested in, and there were a big difference in that game because of the investment. So as far as myself, it wasn't that kind of investment in myself. So all I could do was what I could do. And then after that, it was pretty much it, to be honest.
okay, yeah. I mean, I hear on our side, you know, we hear that a lot, right? Like, you know,
Yeah,
it was really like with barely. That's pretty much 95% of people's stories, right?
yeah,
And so it's interesting, kind of, to get your like perspective on, you know, from the female side of things,
yeah,
because I mean, look, it sounds like the same things that kind of went on our side. You know what I mean?
absolutely. And that's what it was, you know. But I appreciate everything there because I learned so much there. And I got the exposure there because we were just such a good program. So I took that out of it and I took that experience out. And I actually still earned myself a full scholarship to college. So it worked out.
Cool. You know what I'm saying? I remember just seeing you at the being the only female at the park, right?
Absolutely.
I just remember seeing you at South Orange Rec,
Yeah.
with the ball on your arm, like I told you before, shooting.
Yeah.
Yo, that's dope because you know what I mean, is you don't see that too often.
Yeah, I love the game.
Yeah, just over there working on your game. Like, I mean, that's dope to me to see. You know what I mean?
Yes. And
Now,
I love to be around all the good players. We got some pretty traditional courts, man. Down there in
yeah,
South Orange and over there in Maplewood.
of
You know,
course.
so
Yeah,
so with that being said, I just love being there. I just love being in the environment. Every time I went, I would see some really good players come in. For example, I remember one time I was in there, at South Orange at the South Orange court, and I seen Kyrie come down there. Kyrie rode his bike there. He rode his bike there, all on his bike, and this was the first time I seen something like this. He came to the gym. I mean, he came to the court on his bike. He had weights on his legs, and he had his basketballs was wrapped in plastic bags with water around them. And when he came, he came pretty much, it was just me and him by ourselves early in the day, early in the morning. And then he'll be bouncing them balls, with the water around it, with the plastic bags wrapped around it. That was the first time I ever seen something like that. And I was like, damn, like, what is this going to do to the game? And it was just an elevation of the game. And then I watched him play like 10 to 20 straight games, to about 12, straight games he played. And then after that, he just rode his bike back home, and that was just a determination. And it was just, it was pretty cool. Some of the people that I came in contact with, and that was all the time at these courts that we played at, that was right in my hometown. So I love being there.
like a lot of people, it's crazy because it kind of seems like in Maplewood, South Orange, it's like the epicenter of things, right? Like you got South Orange Rec and you got Memorial, right?
Right.
You probably hear those parks or people come from everywhere to play at those parks. And that's not like, that doesn't happen in every city, right?
Does not.
It's not, you don't hear about people saying this weekend, are we going to, this place, or we going to that place. The only place I really ever heard of outside of it was Livingston or, some other place like that. But, Memorial or South Orange Rec was, if you was a baller, that was the place to be.
Place to be.
And that's crazy to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got like a richer basketball history than,
Yes, we do.
and
It's amazing.
than anybody would pretty much know. Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Parker never even played for Columbia, then went to Columbia. Is better than a lot of other players that played for different teams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's dope.
It's
I
crazy.
love our town, man. I love this town. And like I said, Columbia was the best years of my life. Just getting that exposure, meeting all these new people. And, we got so much talent here in our city. Our city is talented, man. We all over the world doing decent things for the people, inspiring people on a daily basis. So now we here. So I appreciate it.
Exactly. And when you were there, what was kind of like do you remember the boys' side of things? What was going on over there?
I mean, I know I heard it from my big cousin, Steve, and he'd tell me some things about, the coaching and things like that. And some things, just some of his experiences. I would hear it from Keith, as we mentioned before, my other big cousin as well. And so I would hear it from them. So kind of like a word of mouth thing for the most part. But when I would go to the games, I would kind of see some things and, and just kind of understand that coaching culture. But like I said, I never was a coach. I'm not a coach. And I'm pretty sure it's different on that side, as far as perspective and how they think and, where they're coming from with things on that side. And I guess that causes for the reasons why they do the things that they do as well. So for the men's side, I wasn't too deep into it, but I was, affiliated enough.
When you were in high school, do you remember what type of team they had over there?
I know when I first came in, as I was saying, when they had Desmond and everything like that, they had a big gritty team. It was gritty. They played hard. And then as years went by, it became more of a, they had better shooters and it became more of, the finesse of the team, So it went from like a gritty style of play to more like a a shooting style of play, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Who were some of the players that you kind of like patterned your game after, or you looked up to, you know what I mean, when you were playing?
When I were playing, um, hmm, let's see. In Columbia, there was this one girl. Her name was Shonda. I forgot her last name, Shonda or I believe it was Shonda. And we kind of had like the same games, and I would come in and watch her play when I would come into Columbia's practices when I was in like 8th grade, and I wasn't even in Columbia yet, but I would come and watch them practice before I came, and I loved her game because it reminded me of myself. She was a great passer, she was a great shooter, and we kind of had like the same kind of attitude as well. So I don't know, outside of the court, I kind of like our energies matched, and I kind of related to her, and I kind of gravitated to her as a guard more. So, but I wasn't a big player, but I love Gail Wafili and Jessica Simmons' game. I love their game. Gail Wafili, she was left-handed. She was a left-handed big player, and she just had so much finesse, and she was just so smooth in her play. And I loved how poised she was at all times. I always felt that Gail was really, really poised. And Jessica Simmons was more so of the grittier player, and just as poised as well. But she would give it to you, never back down to no player. And her attitude was just, I'm gonna play you 94 feet, and we gonna figure it out, you
Yeah.
know. And
Gail actually played with the boys a lot. Like I remember playing with Gail when I was in 8th grade.
right, right,
Be at Memorial,
yeah,
you don't really get the ball back when you pass to her,
right, right.
but
She was pretty good, man. She was pretty good. I loved her game.
definitely good. That left hand,
That left
her,
hand was pretty good. Jessica Simmons was good too. Marcy Dixon was great as well. I watched her. I watched some of the games she played, but I was really young when she played. She had graduated before I came in.
Yeah, me and Marcy actually used to work out together. We had the same trainer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wasn't in high school when she was in high school, but that's Garen's older sister.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Garen used to, Garen played the Wild with me. And the same guy who he used to play in the Wild with was our coach, was also would train Marcy. So when I wouldn't play at the Wild no more, but when I would when he would work me out, she would be there too. So we would work out together, and I used to see her. I used to be like, damn.
Yeah, she's tough.
The stuff that she was doing was, it's funny because I was a guard. Everybody knows me for my shooter, right?
Yep.
But really, like the best part of my game is really like post up. I can post up smaller guards, right?
Right.
I took a lot of that stuff I used to do in the post from Marcy when we used to be training, like the stuff he used to have her do.
Yeah.
I used to take that like with me, when I was playing. So, and it's funny, it's like, because when you get coaches sometimes it's like nobody wants me to post up. They're like,
yeah, like come on.
What you doing? Like, get out the way. Right. But everybody that knows me know I can post up. So when I got to by the time my senior year came, the coach would actually give me some post ups when I had like a mismatch on the smaller guard.
Right.
And once he see that I could score down there or whatever. So big up to Marcy though. She definitely
Marcy was pretty good, man.
Game.
Yeah.
Between her and Gary Payton. All right. So if you was to name the top 3 players that you've seen come out of Columbia, as far as on the girls' side,
top 3, the girls' side, I'll go Marcy. I like Jessica Simmons, and I'll go Tania Greenleaf.
Tania Greenleaf, okay. Cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, that was actually a lot easier than anybody else that has answered the question.
Yeah, I'll go Marcy, Jessica Simmons, and myself. Absolutely.
Okay. And I'm gonna go through some questions right now. I just want you to fill in the blank for me before we leave the topic, right?
Yep.
Yeah. If I could change one thing, if I can go back to Columbia and change one thing about basketball, it would have been
my attitude towards certain situations. I wish I was more mature to handle certain situations during those times. and maybe I would have had some better outcomes with certain things. I think that, sometimes the coaches and stuff, you know, was turned off by the way I reacted to things. But I just think that I needed to understand myself a little bit more during those times, and I would have had much better outcomes. You know,
Okay. The best player I ever played against was
in Columbia, strictly
Columbia. Yeah.
played against.
High school. I don't want to say Columbia, but in high school.
Okay, in high school, period.
Yeah.
Any other team? Best player I played against. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I like this guard from East Orange. Her name was Alnisa. I forgot her last name. Alnisa Buckner.
Nobody remembers that, yo.
Alnisa Buckner. She might have been the best player I played against.
What happened to her?
I don't even know what happened to her.
Like 45 points a game or something, right?
Yeah, she was tough. When I played against her, she was definitely skilled, really, really skilled. Her handle was on a string. She could shoot from anywhere in the court. She had good composure. She was kind of tall. So she was a tall point guard. So getting to the rack and everything like that was pretty easy for her. So she was pretty good. I remember her game a lot. So I'll say Alnisa Buckner. That was my best player I played against.
Okay. Well, she was in my year, right? What year was she in?
She may have been your year. She was definitely older than me. I think she maybe about 2 or 3 years older than me. So
you played against?
Yeah, I played against her. Maybe my sophomore and junior year, I believe. So yeah, she was tough.
How'd that turn out?
She was tough. I think we won. I believe we won, but it was a tough win. I believe so. Yeah, a tough one. But she was tough. And I remember when I was guarding her, I had to really, use my skills and use my good lateral movement with her. She had a good quick first step, and like I said, she was strong with it. She had a good hesitation moves, and that was the first time I seen a lot of poise in her game too, as far as guards was concerned. So it was a tough matchup with her.
Okay. And give me, like, as far as high school, from what you can remember, right?
Right.
I need a Miss Wright story.
Yeah. Miss Wright story. Let me see. I don't really have too many, too many.
You gotta have some with Miss Wright. I got some with Miss Wright.
Yeah.
I know you played for her.
So. Yeah, I don't really have too many, but I could I could take you into the atmosphere at our practices. Miss Wright was a big Lauryn Hill fan. So at our practices, I could remember coming into practice at South Orange Middle, and she'll have Lauryn Hill playing, and she'll be rapping it to all of us, trying to kind of get in the energy and everything like that, all in tune before we started up. And that's just the kind of person she was. And then, as soon as we started our practices up, it was strictly tough and bones. She was strictly tough. As far as my experiences with her, I don't never really remember her being really soft on me. I got the tough side of Mrs. Wright, and I got the strict side of her, and I got the the assertive side of Mrs. Wright. She really never really let her hair down with me. I just really didn't. I guess we really didn't have that rapport like that to connect like that on that way. Mm. But I knew she appreciated me though. I know that for a fact. And in return I did as well for what it was at Columbia. So I don't really have too many stories of it though. I mean, I can remember, like I said, she was so tough on me. And I remember, I forgot who we were playing against. And I used to always feel like I could never do right by her. That's just how I felt. I always felt like I just couldn't do the right things for her. And I remember one game I was having a really, really good game. And I don't know who it was against. I'm thinking Livingston. I'm not really too sure. But, I never really got like big reactions out of her. But this game I did. And I thought I wasn't going to get one. And she called the timeout. And she called the timeout. And she looked at me when I was coming out, and I was like, oh God, I'm about to get yelled at, probably sitting on the bench. Oh, she probably about to take me out and all this other stuff. And she stayed stern-faced until I got to the line. And as soon as I got to the line, she smiled and opened up her arms and gave me a big hug. And I can remember that in the game. And that was a big moment for me, because it was like kind of like the first moment where I felt like really embraced by her, you know and that was big for me, because all I wanted to do was really be embraced by her. But I never really was my years there for whatever reason. I don't know. But, I can remember some points in times where it was kind of like,
Okay. And transitioning right to when you went to Bloomfield,
yeah.
like, can you tell me what the difference was? What was the notable difference that you noticed when you were transitioning from Columbia to Bloomfield as far as the college level?
Conditioning. So
That's all, man.
yeah,
Uh,
conditioning. That's all I can say. The conditioning, man. Oh God. When I left Columbia coming into college, just the responsibility of, you know, holding yourself accountable to be conditioned. And that was the big difference for me. I never really was a big runner until now. You know what I mean? What a coinky thing now. All I do is love to run. But in high school, I hated running, the suicides and all this stuff. And college was the same kind of deal. So I started to get a little bit more used to it then. But the conditioning, man, because that's the big difference in the game. The game is much faster in college. You have to think faster, you have to react faster, and then your body has to be well equipped for these bigger guards, and mostly all well equipped players who could do basically everything that you can do. So, I had to really equip myself, take responsibility for that myself. And that was the big difference for me. High school, you could take responsibility, but you kind of like had the coaches and it was like a team thing. But in college, it's more so you on your own with the conditioning. You're going to come here, and then, you get penalized for not being conditioned for real in college. And that's a big thing. So I think that was a crazy adjustment for me, coming from high school to college. Definitely.
Definitely was for me too.
Yeah.
You're not
Yep.
ready for some of the stuff that they do out there, man. It's crazy, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and you got to eat different.
Yeah. Just
It's
got
all
to become an adult. You just got to become an adult. So that was tough for me coming in there, for
yeah, no, I
sure.
definitely understand that. You know,
Yeah.
so now I'm kind of gonna get into other things.
That's fine.
So we got Tania, right? For those that don't know, she has like every Monday and Thursday, she has these things that she does where I'm gonna let you explain it actually.
Okay. Um, so it started out with me just trying to stay on a clean path mentally, just trying to stay on a straight and narrow path mentally. I think that, we get so uh, riled up into the outside world, our life, our outside stresses and everything like that, that it just, it's hard to just stay diligent to one plan. And I know that everything around me consists of me being mentally prepared for things. And so, how do you do that? So, I started with something called Mindful Monday and Thinking Through Thursdays. And so, the idea behind it is, Mindful Mondays, just being mindful of how you start in your week, where you are mentally with your week, physically and spiritually on a Monday, you know, being conscious of that, taking responsibility of how you are feeling in that moment, and understanding that you have choices. I think that we forget that we have choices. We have choices. We could turn down negative emotions. We could walk away from negative people, and we have choices. To keep our lives, going in a positive way. So you don't get sunken into other things that don't really matter. And so that's what started my Mindful Mondays. And I read a lot of books, and it started me from reading a lot of books. And actually, this one book I read, you know, it was called How to Be a Person, and it was by Hugh Hefner Prepper. And that was crazy. It was a crazy book. And once I read that book, it kind of really awakened me to everything in life, kind of really like balanced me and got me really, equated with everything. But so that started my mindful Mondays. And I know other people go through it. So, and I know other people have a hard time staying positive, and I know other people have, a lot of blood suckers around them, and I know a lot of people have, just a lot of negative things around that could sink them into a negative place. And so that, and then people are really, really scared to talk about those places and scared to talk about the things that sink them down. So I just wanted to be open and positive and have a smile behind that kind of stuff to let people know that, it could be lightened, and all that stuff can be turned around if you just stay diligent and stay consistent with understanding your environment and where you're putting yourself at as an adult. So just choices, being mindful of your Mondays. And then, as the week go through, I came up with thinking through Thursdays. And it's just, thinking everything through, from your Monday to your Thursday as the weekend is approaching. And now, you got to think that through, think your weekend through. You may want to, you go out and party on the weekend, but is that really good for you to do? Just think it through. You may want to do something else, but is that really good for you to do? That may not be, a good idea for, whatever it is that you're doing in your life, to be successful. And I just feel like we have to just stay consistent with our mental, with a good mental space to be successful. Because that's all it is. It has nothing to do with no materialistic things. It has nothing to do with people. It has nothing to do with outside things. It's all you. It's all you. And so that's what I've learned in my life from all my experiences. So I'm trying to inspire people in the way that I know that I can be consistent at it. And I think that that's a good way for me to do it. And so that's what started that up. And it's kind of outlet for me, to be honest. It's like, it's an outlet for me. It keeps me straight and narrow. It keeps me in a good place, because then I know I got to talk to you guys on a Monday twice a week. So I know that I got to be okay to do that twice a week. So at least twice a week for sure. I know I'm in a good place, because that's where I'm gonna be at. So just something to look forward to, something positive for the people to look at. And it's allowing people to talk, it's allowing people to talk. It's allowing dialogue. And I think that, sometimes we get scared of dialogue, but it's okay. Even negative dialogue is okay, because we're gonna still get to a better place. And I think that, I'm trying to open that up to the world in a better way.
Okay, yeah, definitely, man. You know what I'm saying? I was going through your page. I seen that. I'm like, I definitely got to get it on here. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? I know you through basketball. You know what I mean? And just actually, you know what I mean? I don't even know how many times we even spoken, had a conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean? You were just a real cool person. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's dope. Like, you know what I mean? What you're doing. So,
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I want the people to get to know Tania, right?
Mm.
I'm gonna ask this is a segment that I call random questions.
That's fine.
So I'm gonna ask you some random questions. I just want you to answer them as honestly as you can, right?
Yeah.
Or that you could that you can remember. All right. Because you're a female.
Absolutely.
So you obviously, I know, dudes is trying to holler at you all the time. So I want to know the worst pickup line anybody's ever said to you.
Oh God, let's see. I got that. Are your feet tired? Because you've been running through my mind all day.
Don't tell me somebody said that. Who said?
Somebody definitely said. I got that before, for sure. For sure. Your feet tired. You've been running through my mind all day. Or they just, hey yo, they do the hey yo, and I couldn't stand that one. Just the really, the idealistic of really hollering at somebody and you really hollering at me like I'm an animal or something. Nah, that's a little different for me. That's a little different for me. Hey yo, all the way down the street. I'm like, huh? For real? Yeah. So,
Okay. Now, Tania is out with her friends. It's a little scenario, right?
Right.
You're out with your friends. You playing basketball, you're doing whatever, right? Your friend is getting beat up by some 14, 13-year-olds, right?
Right.
Tania A jumps in, B laughs, or C does nothing.
A little bit of A and B, man. I'm probably laughing while I'm jumping in it, man. I'm gonna go A and B, man, because I'm gonna be dying with these 13 and 14-year-olds. But but I ain't gonna let my partner get beat up by the youngins, you know.
That's crazy though, right? You think it's a 14-year-old, like kids, nobody's gonna hit kids, or nobody's even thinking about that. But
right.
To the point where it's like with them, or if your friend is getting hurt, it's like, what do you?
It's a little
like, I don't really want to hit a kid, but what do I do? You know what I mean? My friends get stomped out or whatever. Should I help them, or should I one of these little guys like?
What should I do? I gotta do something for the youngest, man. Not too much damage, but I definitely got to break the tension and break that up for sure, with a couple laughs in there too.
All right. Okay. All right. Now for the other random question, one artist that you listened to before the games was
Jadakiss.
Jadakiss.
Yeah.
Really?
Jadakiss and Styles P in my top.
Jadakiss and Styles P.
Styles P. I know I'm crazy, but yeah, that's probably weird, a little weird to you, but those are my guys. Those are my guys.
Styles P, yeah. Jadakiss would be a little weird because you about to play a game. I'm thinking,
yeah,
you kind of calm.
Yep, Jada,
really,
Styles. Those are my people.
But maybe his punchlines to get you going a little bit.
Yeah, they get me going. I just love his flow. I feel like I feel like they both male versions of myself. That's why I really can relate to him as much as I do. I really do believe that. That's how they my favorite rappers.
So with that being said, then, since you consider yourself, I'm assuming, a rap fan, right?
Yeah, I'm a rap fan.
All right, give me your top three rappers of all time. Not you don't got to be your favorite. Who are the three best rappers of all time?
To me, of all time. I'm a Biggie. I like a Biggie flow.
My favorite rapper. Go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta go B.I.G. And it's crazy because I gotta go with Jay-Z, man, because it's still so many lyrics that I'm just understanding today that I've been listening to since a kid. So I gotta go with Jada. I gotta go with Jay-Z, and then I'm gonna go with Styles P. That's my man.
Okay, yeah, that's dope what you said, right? Because it's with Biggie too, right?
Yeah, Biggie as well.
I'm repeating. I knew the words my whole life, but I'm just getting now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And Jay-Z, the same thing. Like, you listening to him, you know the words already, but when you get older, you start to realize what those words mean, and it's more dope than that, right?
Yeah, he's the intellect of this man that I still be understanding that, as far as rhymes and verses today, I can't believe the intellect of him during those times, to be honest with you. And that's why you just got to give it to him, because it's just unmatched. It really is.
Okay. And as far as music goes, staying with that, you listen to R&B?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And this is a question, right, that you never really hear.
Right.
So I want to know, who are the top 5 R&B artists, hip hop and R&B? I'm not talking about like, Shaka Khan or Aretha Franklin or something like that. So
okay.
Hip from the 90s on.
From the 90s on?
Men and women, or, who's just the best?
Regardless to the contrary, I know a lot of people like Chris Brown. I wasn't really a Chris Brown fan at all. So
I don't see a way he gets into the top 5, but
yeah, nah, I really wasn't in it, but they'll put him in that. I like a Mary J. Still her old school 90s Mary J. she's classic. She's classic. You can't do nothing with her during them times.
The goat right there.
Yeah, I got to do it right there with her. I take Mary. See, moving forward, I love Ella May. I'm a big fan of Ella May. Um, Ella
All
May,
time?
yeah. Of all time, though? No.
I mean, I'm talking about from
No.
90s on.
Yeah, from 90s on.
All time. Now, who you like? Who's the best?
R. Kelly, regardless to the contrary, he has.
It's a lot of contrary.
Yeah, regardless to the contrary. I listened to a lot of R. Kelly, man, before that. I did. I really did. Mary J, R. Kelly. I even Donnell Jones. Um, that was my guy as well, as far as the R&B. What's my other guy? With Case. I like Case. I even like Genuine growing up. You know, I did. You know, I did. That was my kind of deal. You know, and then now, like more so, you know, I'm a big Adele fan. I think that she's a great singer. Her music moves me as far as R&B. I love her. I love Adele, and I love me some Lauryn Hill. Lauren, she's my top. I'll have to go with her as well. Lauren is my top as well. So.
No, you named 6 though.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just naming them. Which one? 5? You want it 5?
1 to 5.
1 to 5.
Top 5, dead or alive.
Top 5, dead or alive. Ooh, let's go, Lauren. She's my number 1. I can listen to her all day. Let's go, Lauren. Let's go. Let's go, Lauren. Let's go, R. Kelly. Listen to him a lot. He moved me a lot back in the day. Let's go. Even Usher. Like the Usher. You know, moving forward, like an Adele. Ella May. I'll go there. You know, there's so many though. I can't even really put them like, you know, top 5, 1 to 5. It's just, I like what I like, to be honest. I can't really give, you know.
All right, so we're going to stick with those 4.
Stick with them. All the 6.
Give me 6, then you gave me 4, but you know.
Right.
All right. Another random question. Tania's friend's lover is out with another person.
Tania, start that over. Tania's friends.
Your friend's lover.
Okay.
Could be husband, wife, you know, okay. I don't know who you roll with, dudes, okay. Girls or whatever, right? I don't know who your best friends are.
All right.
Your friend's wife or husband is out cheating.
All right.
They come to you, they see you, and they say, give me 72 hours to tell my wife or husband.
Ooh. What would I do? So over the years, I've learned that stepping into my friends' relationships and things like that get touchy. It get touchy. It becomes a lot. You know. So I guess it kind of really depends. I guess. I mean, for my right hand number 1 homegirl, and I see that she's being treated wrong. Yeah, I'm gonna have to let them know that, because I would want someone to let me know that for sure. But I guess maybe I would give it 72 hours though.
72 hours?
To let their spouse know, because that is their relationship. You know what I mean? But either way, I will be sending that memo.
Sending a random text message.
Yeah, I mean, it's only right. It's only right. You have to, you know. It's only right. I mean, it's only right. It's only right.
All right, next random question. in a relationship, one thing that Nia hates the most is
not communicating, or I guess bad communication. I guess.
communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because in relationships, right? A lot of stuff can build up that you don't say to each other, right?
Right.
And then all of a sudden you got an argument and just
everything comes
like,
to
oh yeah, that's another thing. Last year, you know what? I really don't like when you do this. And you did this and you did that.
Yes. So I believe it, it's a little bit better to get, to let things out gradually as we go. So I would say that, communication, I've learned that now as an adult, communication is key, but not even communication, comprehension is key. So you can communicate, but you also have to be able to comprehend each other and willing to understand each other. And I think that's where I'm at with that. So just the, not being in sync with your partner, not being friends with your partner. I think that's the worst thing you could ever do is get into a relationship with somebody and you're not genuinely their friend. So I would say that's what I dislike the most.
Okay. With Tania's advice, you would advise somebody before they move in with someone to always make sure the other person what?
Before they move in with someone, to make sure that the other person is clean.
Sounds like you had a bad experience.
Yeah, man. Gotta make sure the person is clean, man. Clean. Keeping your personal space clean, And people have different definitions of clean, Eddie. There are different definitions of clean. Your definition of clean may not be my definition of clean. So we gotta get some balance here.
My definition of clean definitely was my mother's definition of clean. So I could
right.
growing up.
So I would say that, making sure that, that's going to be on point, making sure that, I guess, both ends of the bargain as far as bills and stuff is developed and already handled as well. Just responsibility, just being responsible. Is that person responsible enough for me to share space with them? So I would definitely, those would be my top: cleanliness, responsibility, and, just the communication as well. Got to be able to communicate when you're living with someone.
Okay. Could you deal with somebody who's clean but not responsible? Or could you deal with somebody who's responsible and not clean?
Who's responsible and not clean? I don't think so. Because I'm kind of like OCD with it, and that's just me. See, and I know where I belong. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna go nowhere where I know I ain't welcome. You know what I'm saying? So for me, no, I need those three things to be pretty decent.
So you gotta have all three.
Be pretty decent with them.
Be decent with them.
Be decent with pretty much all three of them. We can work on them as we go. You gotta be perfect, but workable. For sure.
Okay.
I ain't like the old lady, like an old witch or nothing like that, but for sure, we gotta definitely be on the same page with some basics.
Okay. Advice to a young Black man growing up in this world right now.
My advice to a young Black man growing up right now is to educate himself. Number one, educate himself on, his culture, his background, what he stands for, practice principles, and we usually get these things from, a good elder we have, or, somebody who's just in that role of mentorship in our lives. So I'll say if you have any good mentors as well, hold on to the mentors because they don't come around a lot. So whoever is giving you good information, hold on to that information, take heed to it, stay patient. I would say to our young Black men, stay strong, you know, and to know that they are loved, you know. I love all our Black men, regardless on what, because you guys got a really tough job in this world today. So, and we do as well, but our Black men do. And so you guys need to know that you are, you're loved, and cared for, you know.
Said, and it's crazy. Like in the times we're in, is what kind of perspective do you have? Because you told me earlier that I think it was you told me your grandfather, right? Is a chief was
Yeah.
police in Newark.
Yes.
So what's your perspective? My father was a police officer, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I know having someone in your family, like growing up, was kind of like probably a little different your perspective, like on the police, right?
Right.
So what's your perspective on police? Like, is it kind of like everything needs to change? Is it a case by case basis, or is it kind of like, listen, like the culture of police is a bad culture?
Yeah. So I got an in-depth look at the police and living with my grandfather, so it was two different things. I seen it from the outside and I seen it from the inside, and I got two in-depth looks at both. I would say it is the culture that needs to change. All right, it is. It's the culture of policing needs to change all around, and that's just my opinion. Period. I know that they do have some tough jobs. All police aren't bad, of course. I lived with a great one, so I know what great policemen are. So with that being said, I got like kind of like the best of the both worlds. Seeing it from the outside and seeing it from the inside. But we do have to change the culture of it. It's just so much systematic injustices in it that's just built from the start of policing and everything like that, and that needs to change. Because everyone who had control over actually controlling policing, had these bad favors and everything like that towards our color and towards our culture. And those are the people who are still in charge, their sons, their nephews, what I mean? And then their sons and then their nephews. And it's all just passed down, you know, passed down with these racial injustices through the whole system. So I think that the whole system is failing our people, failing our culture because of these reasons. And I don't know when we'll ever have any change, because the root of it is, the people who are controlling it, it's a history of that, that's their history, and to do this. And this is their outlet, these people, these racist people and these Klan members. You got a whole bunch of, policemen as Klan members. That's leaders and big time lawyers who do the same thing, and our regular jobs who do the same thing. Our regular every day-to-day jobs. People get it so twisted. It's not just policing; it's in every job all over the world. And so that's the issue. And it's you don't really know how to break it because it's rooted so deeply.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Like, so growing up, it's crazy because, like me and my friends, right? So like when we driving somewhere or we were driving, we'd be like, we're going through this neighborhood or we're going through that neighborhood. And sometimes when we get stopped, or we would just be like, oh, damn, going through this neighborhood, we gotta be careful. Or, we would get stopped and we would just be like, yo, we got stopped for nothing. That was racist. Like, we would laugh it off. Like, it was no, like, nothing in our minds was like, yo, listen, this is wrong. You gotta do something about it. It was kind of like, this is wrong and whatever. And like we just went on with our lives. Like it never like dwelled, and no one I was around never dwelled on anybody to be like, yo, we gotta make a change. Like this is crazy. Like we should be able to go through any neighborhood we want to.
Right.
It shouldn't be, hey, listen, don't go here at this time, don't do this time. Even in basketball, right? Even in basketball, we would go certain places, and certain people, they got home reps. So you would go certain places and they'd be like, yo, we play these, if we play a white team, you know,
Right.
no offense.
Yeah.
In their place,
Absolutely.
refs were a little different.
They were a little different.
You know what I mean? And it was kind of like preparing the kids for that is damn near almost like preparing them for life, right? You telling them, listen, go here, we can't do this, we can't do that. You know what I mean? We go into this game to play these dudes. You know, we can't play like we normally play. You know,
Right.
they gonna call us for fouls, or they gonna do this, that, and the third, right? And it never even dawns on anybody that this is wrong. Like, you know what I mean? You know it's wrong, but it's like, oh, you wrong, you roll with it, right?
Yeah.
Never like, all right, this is wrong, this shouldn't happen. Like it's always like, oh, that was racist, or you know what I mean? Damn, that was racist. Okay, whatever, let's go. You know, it was like, you know, nobody tried to make a change in what's wrong. And so it's like it just goes on forever, right?
Right.
I remember growing up like that, honestly. Like, do you feel the same way, or it was like
I feel the same way, definitely. That, you know, I had some pretty tough experiences in my life, period. You know, even just I will wear a hoodie in the car, you know, just got a hoodie on, I'm just driving, and like, you know, they were mistaking me for a guy and pull me over and be thinking that I'm this dude and stuff like that. And so I pull my hoodie off, show them my license, show this, and then they're like, oh, okay, go. But you know, it was just a stigma, and it was stigmatized from the rip. And I had plenty of experiences like that. I had so many encounters with the cops, you know, negatively, and so it's been crazy for me, but definitely it's a difference now, with the necessity for change because of so many killings, because of so many, you know, the killings that's taped on video blatantly, you know what I mean? And so that changes it now because everybody gets to see it. And so that's the difference now. See, before people could really ignore it. I think that the pandemic made people really listen. And if you're not listening, you was forced to watch it. So that was just the difference between then and now, you know, with the need of, you know, this needs to change. And more so people outside of our culture that's believing truly, genuinely that there needs to be a change. And that was the only good thing that came out of the pandemic for me.
okay. And growing up in Maplewood, South Orange, do you feel there needs to be a change there too, or do you kind of feel like it was a little different?
It was so different for me in Maplewood and South Orange, and that's what I truly embraced from it. You know, I have so many Caucasian friends that I genuinely would die for out here in Maplewood and South Orange. You know, and so you know, I have great connections with people outside of my culture that I genuinely love, and they genuinely love me and love my family, and I love their family. You know, and it's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's just what this city gave to me. You know, it was so well rounded for me. Like I said, when I came here, it was for the first time. I would look around and be like, oh wow, this is the, you know, I can be best friends with this white girl. You know, I could be best friends with, you know, another person outside of my race, and it'd be okay and not looked upon and just a natural thing. But then when I started to go different places, I understood that that wasn't so natural. So this is why I say, like, you know, this was living here and going to school out here was the best times of my life because of those reasons. You know, I felt like, you know, here is where I'm comfortable with anybody and all my people here. So it was for me, it was that for me here.
Okay. Do you feel like growing up in Maplewood, South Orange kind of prepared you for, like, because, you know, when we go other places, right, there'll be, you know, you have friends from different places, different worlds, right? And
Right,
you know, everybody didn't grow up in a place that's that diverse.
right.
So some people might, like, do you feel like it's like a culture thing, like where if you're black, right? Say you grew up in Irvington, you grew up in North or whatever, right? The only white people you're really gonna see are the policemen,
Right.
right? So you might get the attitude that, yo, you know, these are kind of what white people are like, or, you know, because that's all you see, right?
Right.
And if you're white and you live in an all white neighborhood and there's no other black people around, right? You might see the only black people you might see is on TV might be rappers,
Yeah, absolutely.
gangbangers on the news, right? So then in your head now you thinking, oh, this is what black people are like,
Right.
you know
You're
what I mean?
absolutely right.
So like you think so like growing up in this type of area gave us like a little bit of advantage, you know,
It did.
and like
It did, and it gave us the edge. It gave us the upper hand because we was able to still stay humble, you know, because that just teaches you that, you know, people just raised different, you know, and it's just different people out in the world. And that's just what you got to deal with in life every single day. It's just different things out in the world that you have to deal with every single day. But home is where the heart is. And that's what makes something a home. You know, that's why this feels like my home, because it's where I don't feel any you know, I don't feel any negativity towards anybody here, you know, and this is the one place where I can go and feel comfortable like that. You know what I'm saying? So going out in other different places and it not being so comfortable like that, you know, you're still able to stay humble. You're still able to assess the situation. You're still able to not react so emotionally, you know, with certain things, you know, because you just understand stuff a little bit more. So for me, that gave me the upper hand for me to just be able to step back and act a little bit more mature with things. You know what I'm saying? And look at things differently, you know. And so, and then, you know, every action has a reaction. And you know, you could assess things, and like I always say, you got choices, man. You got choices. Everybody not raised the same. So that me going to different places just really make me utilize my choice, you know. I don't have to be there. I could remove myself from any situation that I want to remove myself from, you know. And so that's what it did for me.
Most definitely, man. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on
Yeah.
and being the first lady of my podcast.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it. I mean, hearing your perspective on, you know, everything from hoops to life to
Hmm.
South Orange. You know what I mean? It was truly a blessing. Like I appreciate it. You know what I mean? And I hope that you will come back.
Oh, I'm coming back. Thank you. I feel comfortable. You know, feel like we just at home, even though we haven't spoke. And this is what this is another thing what the city do. You know, I haven't talked to you in a while. We can still get up here and do this. But this is what it does. This is what it did for us. So this is just here it go. This is a result of something, you know, of something good. So I thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm willing to come back whenever you're willing to have me. I'm willing to do it. And you know, as we get more comfortable, we can go into any topic you want to go to. What you want to go to, we can do it. Let's get the people's
All right,
time.
let's do it, man. I mean, the other question, are you willing to co-host?
I'm willing. You willing to have me?
See, that's what we're talking about here, people.
You willing to have me? I'm willing to be here. You know?
All right, cool. All
Um,
right, thanks for coming on. You know what I mean? And good night.
Good night. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.